You're listening to your local station, 88.6 Plenty Valley FM. Hey, we are moving into 3 tips to bounce back from overindulging this Christmas. And the reality is, it's the most wonderful time of the year, but all the festivities coming along, there is a lot of eating. And especially if you are on Christmas Day going from say, breakfast at home with the family and opening Christmas presents to lunch and then dinner at the other side of the family or friends, or if you're moving from one location to the other, it's amazing how much food is served up for lunch, and then you're kind of finishing off, and only because I've done this before, so I'm speaking from experience, but by the time you finish off desserts and cakes, it's around about 5 o'clock, and then you're due to eat dinner again at about 6. And it happens, and there's the overindulging in, everyone brings us sweets, and there's so much around. But there are some tips to help you get on track and recover from the indulging, because one thing is, it's not necessarily about being bad for us. It's just we just feel yuck by the time it comes to Boxing Day and the days leading after. So here are some tips of what you can do. There are going to be things that are indulgent and richer than what we would normally have, and that's okay as long as we have some strategies to, make ourselves feel better. And we know it's just such a short period of time, and just enjoy your families and friends. There's so much time to tidy up on our health and fitness goals. First tip is to make sure that you don't beat yourself up about it. So the first step from recovering from overindulging is to make sure that you don't beat yourself up. And as I mentioned, it is one time of the year, and there's plenty of time to get yourself back on track. So first thing is just, whatever, it was a off day, and as long as we kind of get back on track really quickly is the message that I sent home, and not to worry too much about what you've had on the day. Although I do have a personal philosophy that I just really hate the feeling of overeating, and I think just taking more than what we need, it just bothers me as a personal philosophy as well. So I will eat everything, but I will never overeat on anything. So that can be a little rule that will help you out. But the first thing is, don't feel too bad about it. It's Christmas, and let's just move on. But the second tip is, well, now that you've overconsumed, what can you do about it? And I think it's just rethinking that we don't always have to be in quite a strict routine of having breakfast, snack, lunch and dinner, or snack and dinner, whatever meals, or just breakfast, lunch and dinner, and being, very timed and consistent. And I'll teach the principle of eating every 3 to 4 hours as well. However, when it comes to an irregular time like Christmas, you just need to start to think about eating in response to hunger rather than scheduled meals throughout the day. So if you have had a big lunch and you have overconsumed, well, that's okay. You just have that food with you, and you eat when you feel hungry next. So that may not be at 6 o'clock at night. It may not even be at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And you might get to 9 o'clock on Christmas night and go, oh, I'm actually starting to feel a little bit peckish. I'm not too hungry. I don't need a whole meal. But then you just may have some yogurt and some fresh berries, and that's kind of sees you out for the day. So it's very much about just understanding that when you consume food, it's about using up the food that you've eaten before you feed again. So that's a really simple way to manage how much food you've had, because if you're having a really big lunch and then you get to dinner time and you're thinking, oh, I should really eat a dinner because that's a healthy practice to do, but you're not hungry for it, you're just going to be layering extra calories and extra food and nutrients into your body that your body just does not need. So the tip there is just to use up your calories. Go for a walk to help to burn some of those extra ones up, or do a mini workout at home, but just wait until you feel that hunger signal again. And the reality is that you would have used that food up. It's when you're eating and you are not hungry that it becomes a real issue with weight gain. And I will say that again because it's really super important to get this point, and that is that our biggest weight gain comes from when we are eating food when we genuinely don't feel hungry. Okay, so the idea is that if you are eating in response to hunger throughout the day and your body is, and it's a physiological hunger, not an emotional hunger, but if your body is asking for food and you're feeling like you're low in energy and your sort of glucose levels are low and your stomach's feeling empty, then that is true hunger. And we should wait till we feel that before we eat again. And what I do recommend on day to day eating is that your quantities are small enough so that you do feel hungry and that food does run out and is used up and processed 3 to 4 hours after your meal, which is probably not going to happen in Christmas time. So try to think about it in that way. And if you've had a dinner and you've overindulged and overconsumed, then you might find that you're not hungry until midday the next day, which is absolutely fine. Just wait till you feel that hunger again, and then serve up the next meal. The next tip is to make sure that you are hydrating. So keeping yourself hydrated not only throughout Christmas Day, and that can be especially tricky as you're running around, getting yourself ready, getting the house ready, getting kids ready, and just working pretty hard to make the magic of Christmas. It can be really easy to forget to drink our normal water that we would be having, our normal cups of water. But also, you can, especially this Christmas, it is going to be quite a warm Christmas. We've got a nice sunny 30-degree day. It is really easy to dehydrate. Now, when we are not drinking enough water, we tend to eat more. So by drinking water, you will definitely be able to eat less on the day. But also staying hydrated will help to flush out any toxins from your body and to also replenish any electrolytes that have been lost in that time of drinking extra alcohol or soft drinks and extra sweet foods. So making sure that you are helping yourself along to by hydrating the body, but not only on the day of Christmas, but I find the following day is going to make you feel a lot better. So remember your water intake. And the last one is to make sure that you're balancing out your sugars with probiotics. Now, you may think to yourself, well, I don't necessarily have too much sugar, or I won't necessarily be having too many desserts. But what I find is that Christmas lunches and dinners tend to be quite carbohydrate heavy, whether there's entree pastas or whether there's biscuits and cheese or whether there's bread served with lunch and dinner that you wouldn't normally have, or beautiful rice dishes. There is a lot of carbohydrate, which that all adds to the amount of carbohydrate and sugar that goes into your body. So if you are also having lots of sweet treats, or if you've had a week leading up to Christmas with extra sugar intake than what you would normally have with chocolates and cakes and candy canes, which I just dislike completely as just sugar sticks. But if that has sort of been what it's been like for you, you can definitely balance that out. And one thing is firstly to the following day, and as quickly as you can, just cutting out that sugar source as much as you can, throwing out some of those leftover cakes and just putting away some of that sugar, but also adding a probiotic, which is really important because when you do consume higher quantities of carbohydrates and sugars into your diet, it can imbalance your gut bacteria and it can leave you feeling bloated and uncomfortable. So adding a probiotic supplement is definitely going to help you to balance out that gut bacteria. And some of the other things that you can do to help your gut health after having too much sugar is starting the day with a hot cup of water and some apple cider vinegar. So the apple cider vinegar helps to balance the acidity in our guts, and with bad bacteria in particular, they thrive in an acidic environment. So if you're balancing out that environment, they're not able to survive as well. But the other things that you can do then is to increase the good bacteria in your gut is having things like yogurt. Make sure that they're plain, so there's no sugars added into it. Things like sauerkraut. So definitely the next day, I'd be having some sort of a protein and sauerkraut there, or having kimchi or a miso soup. You can actually just buy miso soups, and you could even have that in place of your tea the next day. It's a really, really good thing to do that will make you feel a lot better. So after the Christmas festivities, definitely the priority would be to get rid of the alcohol, which also increases the sugar in your bloodstream, but also just remove the sugars out of your diet. And then let's try and balance some of that out. So when it comes down to it, we know when we've had enough and we know that we've overindulged, but there are a couple of little things that you can do. And the first tip was to not be too tough on yourself at this really magical time of the year. There's nothing that you can't correct. So give those things a go. Again, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Post it on the Wellbeing Wednesdays with Snez Facebook page. I would love to hear if you have your own ideas of what makes you feel better the day after Chrissy. But give that a go, and let's go into a track